righty. Greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Andrew Kirchhoff, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is a very impromptu, random Friday night live stream. I thought to myself, all right, I got a video recorded. I might as well hold off that until Saturday, drop that in the morning, get you guys ready in regards to that. But then, just hop on a live stream and just answer questions. Of course, we will be live streaming tomorrow afternoon as well and Sunday morning. So do not worry. All the information that is going to be compiled in the next coming days will be, kind of relayed back to you on a Sunday morning graphic in which we'll have rankings on screen for all the primary positions like we always do. But it's week 17. Another live stream in which I can answer questions. I know I didn't have one last night after the Thursday night football game. A very interesting game to say the very least, but I'm just here to answer questions. I see you guys already chiming in. I appreciate for those of you guys who have already done so. This is going to be a very interesting week. As you can see from the thumbnail already, there are questions about a lot of players, a lot of stud players, guys like DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, like I can already see in the chat right here from Ray. There are a lot of questions that we're going to have to answer. And there's a lot of uncertainty at this current moment in time, but hopefully we can go through this slowly but surely. I see that some of you have sent in some super chats. We'll get to that in just a moment. I appreciate you guys sending those in. Don't feel obligated to do so. I just want to, kind of chill, answer questions, and keep it moving, okay? I appreciate y'all. If you guys haven't yet already, do me a solid. Click the like button down below. Greatly appreciate that. Let me see what's going on here. I know Freddie started us out, had a question. Freddie, what's up? Hope you're doing well, my man. Says Zay Jones, Gabe Davis, Mike Williams, Jahan Dotson, pick two, Big Drew. All right, so if I'm gonna pick two of these potential options based on specifically, I don't really like Mike Williams a lot this week at all. Gabe Davis is super inconsistent. His touchdown from last week was pretty much his like status quo. What Gabe Davis does is he scores a touchdown once every 3 weeks. So he pretty much cashed in on that last week. I know it's a little bit of a chalky analysis, but really that's kind of how it's been with Gabe Davis. So outside of those two options, considering I don't like them too much, I'm kind of leaning the direction of going Jahan Dotson and Zay Jones there. Alfredo, thank you. Will Roberts says, yeah, Cardinals issues has me scrambling. Hopkins, Hollywood Brown, Evans, Dotson, Ricky James. So here's the whole scenario, right? I'll just kind of break it down for y'all. So, and this will be also kind of talked about tomorrow on tomorrow's video, but nonetheless. So at this current moment in time, we have a for sure fact that David Blau is going to be the starting quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals. Okay, so that in itself is really sketchy, considering Colt McCoy started to attribute some of his, kind of, I guess, the way he was feeling to concussion-like symptoms. So that in itself, the fact he was cleared by concussion protocol earlier in the week and then he felt some symptoms again, they immediately knocked him out. They're like, you know what, you cannot play. So David Blau is going to be playing instead of Trace McSorley, which certainly could help DeAndre Hopkins a little bit more. In the last 5 games that David Blau has started in the National Football League, those were in 2019, by the way. He came in to kind of fill in for Matthew Stafford in the Detroit Lions those years back. In those games, the 5 games that he played, Kenny Golladay was still a good wide receiver at the time. And in those 5 games had, I think, 398 receiving yards, 22 receptions, 3 receiving touchdowns. So he still had himself relevant fantasy production. The only issue with DeAndre Hopkins right now, in which why Will Roberts is kind of weary on the entire situation, is that earlier today at practice, DeAndre Hopkins left with, according to Cliff Kingsbury, a little bit of a knee issue. A little bit of a knee issue in week 17 is a lot of bit of a knee issue, especially considering this is a 4-11 football team. And the fact of the matter is they're not obligated to play DeAndre Hopkins in the week. So if in fact we're in a situation, I know that's a long way around, but I just want to give everyone the context as to why I'm not going to potentially expect DeAndre Hopkins to play out of the available options here. I'm probably leaning in the direction. At the moment, it's got to be one of these 3. I don't even trust Hollywood Brown with David Blau at this moment. I really like Richie James. I think Jahan Dotson is a touchdown fiend. Mike Evans has been, just uber inconsistent over the course of the season. Like, I'd love Mike Evans to be this guy, but I don't think I can trust him. I'd probably go Jahan Dotson, Ricky James second, then Evans third, then Hollywood fourth. Hopkins is the wild card. If he plays, he probably is in my lineup, but otherwise, I don't expect him to play. Joshua says, hello, Andrew. Thank you very much for the video. Appreciate that. This is my 3rd final in a row. How about that, huh, Joshua? 3rd final in a row. Congratulations. Hey, that's as much as you want to give me credit, man. That's a lot of credit on you, man. You've put together some great teams. You've made some great decisions. Okay, let's see. A quick question. Would you pick up Devontae Adams quick question. Would you pick Devontae Adams, Christian Watson, or Aaron Jones full PPR? Out of the 3 options this week, I'm probably more inclined to play Aaron Jones out of the 3. Aaron Jones is expected 100% to play. Christian Watson, not so much. According to the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, he said, we'll see. That doesn't keep me excited about the potential. He could end up playing, but at the moment, I'm kind of leaning towards Aaron Jones. Devontae Adams, I think I'm benching him, guys. I think I'm benching him at this point. It really has gotten to that point. Mark Andrews or Cole Kmet? Yeah, I'm probably playing Cole Kmet, mainly because of the Detroit Lions matchup. Will Lawrence be a game time or be limited? Okay, he was limited all week, right? So he was limited through the entirety of the practice with that toe injury. My expectation, based on what we've heard specifically from Doug Peterson, is, hey, we're gonna start all of our starters. Let's do that. I'm hoping they're not lying. They could be straight up lying to us, considering the Tennessee Titans did lose on Thursday's game. But you never know. At this point, it's gonna be tough. Lansing said, I benched Schultz for Taysom. Why'd you do that? Taysom can really only be trusted in some scenarios, and this week was not it. If you guys saw the thumbnail, let me see here. Where is my thumbnail for yesterday's video? Again, yesterday prior to kickoff, your boy Andrew, can I find, it's not even on my desktop. Where did I put this thumbnail? Aha, here it is. Gonna find it right now. Boom, boom. Here we go. That's week 16. Where's week? It is on my desktop. Yesterday, I posted a video with quarterback and tight end rankings. Schultz was not that high. I think I had him at 7. And Taysom Hill was off the list outright because Juwan Johnson's the starting tight end for that team. And unless we're in a situation where they're running the ball, just exclusively within the Saints offense, it's going to require a giant passing touchdown from Taysom Hill to be a relevant option. Why can't I find this thumbnail? I'm lost right now on my own desktop. I'm pretty sure I found it now. This is the thumbnail. There it is. I don't know why this graphic is like cut up like this, but here's the thumbnail. Mr. Tyler Higbee, who was questionable to play, but should be able to play this upcoming weekend. This thumbnail on the bottom right, that's the video. Shouldn't have played Taysom. Hey, let's hope Taysom goes off though. Okay, I'm not here to like scold you. I'm here to be like, all right, we've settled that. Check out the videos, guys. But please, let's hope that Taysom Hill pops off. Okay, let's hope for that. I appreciate it. You know, it's interesting. It's about 159 of you in here. What do you guys? I mean, I guess if you're on the West Coast, as it's technically early. It's only 9:25 p.m., so we're in a good spot here. Running back starts: Cam Akers, Brian Robinson, Alvin Kamara. At this moment, I'm starting these two. I'm sitting Alvin Kamara this week. I do not like the idea that Andreas Pete, one of their starting offensive guards, is out. I don't like the fact that Cesar Ruiz, their starting center, has been on the injured reserve for the last 2 weeks. I don't like the idea that they're playing against the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia. I feel far more comfortable playing Brian Robinson with Antonio Gibson out and Cam Akers, who this season already has, over the course of the entirety of the year, seen the second least 8 or more defenders in the box against him. The only other running back that has seen better overall opportunities in terms of not playing up against stacked boxes is Aaron Jones. Cam Akers coming off a pretty big week. I'm sure that the Los Angeles Chargers are going to try to attempt to stop Cam Akers, but let's be honest, the Chargers have not been able to stop the run against any team over the course of the last 2 years. It has been a consistent nagging issue within that team. Therefore, Cam Akers is probably the guy there with Brian Robinson in my eyes. Should I bench D-Hop for Scary Terry or Lazard? I think yes for both. At this point, considering it's going from Colt McCoy to David Blau, you are in a far better position to start Terry McLaurin at this point. And if in fact Christian Watson is going to be inactive in that game against Minnesota, I would venture to say that Allen Lazard is actually the best player of them all at that point, if we get a confirmation by Sunday. Now, let me confirm this. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Green Bay Packers game is, let me see when it's scheduled for. Green Bay Packers versus Minnesota, unfortunately, is in the afternoon. So for Pacific Standard Time, it'd be at 1:25 on Sunday afternoon. So technically, you would, let me see when Washington plays. Washington plays at 10 a.m. So we probably won't be given designated 100% whether or not Christian Watson will or will not be playing until the afternoon. Therefore, you're probably in a position that Scary Terry is your player. And honestly, I'm not even upset about it. I think he's a great play. Montgomery, Akers, McKinnon, start 2. Much love. Yeah, no problem. At this point, it's probably these two. I like Montgomery, especially with Cody Whitehair and Tevin Jenkins coming back. Those are 2 interior offensive linemen for that team that they really were missing last week against the Buffalo Bills, and it was apparent on film. But I do think that even with that being the case, I don't know if the Detroit Lions run stop defense is going to be as bad as they were once again. Like when I watched that game back, a lot of the issues with the Detroit Lions run stop defense was user error in the idea that, I mean, the linebacker would shoot the wrong gap. Like, I don't even know how that's possible in the National Football League. Like, you're taught to read in high school as a linebacker. The dude is shooting the wrong gap. There's a guard pulling across his face. The guy shoots that gap. It doesn't even make any sense. Like, you're supposed to follow the guard. I don't know. Maybe he saw something different. Maybe they were expecting something different that I wasn't aware of. Either way, I don't think the Detroit Lions will be that bad ever again. They've really been locked down over the course of the last couple weeks. So I'll take Akers and McKinnon there. All right, there were a couple super chats that were sent in. I'm going to get to that. Actually, let's just do it right now. Let's get to those right now really quickly. I see actually a pretty solid share of them. So I want to address them, kind of catch up there. I do appreciate those of you who have been patient and have been waiting for those questions to be answered. So let's go ahead and let's do that right now. Let's go over to the supers. Where art thou? Who starts us off today with the supers, huh? Carlos R. Carlos, thank you very much. I appreciate it. He says 10-man league. I'm in a full PPR. 1 running back, 1 flex. Jacobs, Lenny, Garrett Wilson, Jacoby Myers. Okay, of the available options here, Jacobs, Lenny, Garrett Wilson, Jacoby Myers. If I'm starting 1 running back, 1 flex, I'm starting Leonard Fournette as my running back. I'm starting Garrett Wilson as my flex. Thank you, Carlos. I appreciate it. Garrett Wilson, even though I don't love the matchup against the rookie cornerback of Seattle, I truly do believe he's probably going to get himself upwards of 9 to 10, probably even more targets within the game. Mike White in the last 2 games that he has in the last 2 starts that Mike White has had, 101 passing attempts have come out of his hands. They're going to pass for a majority of this game. And in that case, Garrett Wilson will definitely be able to benefit from that. AV says, Standard League, pick 2, Jahan Dotson, Jamal Williams, Jeff Wilson Jr., TJ Hawkinson. I'm also starting Kirk Cousins. Okay, very well. And Justin Jefferson. That's why I'm unsure about TJ Hawkinson. Okay, understood. So if we're starting picking 2 in a standard league, Jahan Dotson, Jamal Williams, Jeff Wilson, TJ. Okay, so at the moment, I don't trust in any sort of capacity that Jamal Williams will be utilized at the capacity that we want to see him at. I mean, Jamal Williams in the last couple of weeks has been, a dud. Let's just be honest. He's been a dud. And it's been unfortunate considering really what is the difference maker between Jamal Williams being a stud and a dud is just touchdowns. And unfortunately, the touchdowns have not been in his favor. And quite frankly, considering the injuries to the Chicago Bears secondary, they probably won't once again be in his favor. So I'm kind of opting away from Jamal Williams there. He did end up practicing fully this week, so that's great. But unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to trust him in this capacity. Jeff Wilson Jr., I could trust them, but quite frankly, I don't know if they're going to run the ball. It seems like they're a team that doesn't want to run the ball in any sort of capacity, and when they do, they give up quickly in doing so. I know he found the end zone last week. That's great. I think I'm seriously going to probably play Jahan Dotson with TJ Hawkinson there, and I'm going all in, mainly because TJ Hawkinson, 9 targets per game since joining the Minnesota Vikings. The guy is just, if it's not JJ that is going to be finding success, it's TJ Hawkinson. He's the number 2 receiving option of that offense. It's just far too advantageous, for lack of a better term, to not play him there. AV, thank you. TB says Patterson, Pinheiro, Dickers, or Dicker, as in Cameron Dicker, or Myers or Suckup at the kicker position. So it's Riley Patterson, Eddie Pinheiro, Cameron Dicker, Jason Myers, or Ryan Suckup. Of the available options, okay, so this is what I want to do. I want to hope that Patterson and Pinheiro can continue with their consistency. I want to hope that's the case. What I'll probably end up doing between the two is most likely playing Patterson because it's an indoor stadium in Houston, and most likely, even if in fact we get into a scenario where the Jacksonville Jaguars pull their starters at halftime, let's say they do something crazy like that is we're not aware of, something of that extent, they're still going to be able to kick field goals, and they're probably going to do it in bunches. So Riley Patterson's probably the best of the bunch. In my mind, as of this current moment in time. Outside of that, probably next best is technically going to be in favor of It probably is Pinheiro second, Dicker third, Suckup fourth, and then Myers fifth. Thank you. Intergalactic sends in a super chat, says, hello. I lost Kyler, made the championships this week. Would you start Brock Purdy or Aaron Rodgers? Hope you enjoyed your Christmas. I did. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So, of the two, Brock Purdy or Aaron Rodgers? Aaron Rodgers, here's the difficult scenario here, right? So Brock Purdy takes on a defense and or team that really isn't in a win now scenario. The Las Vegas Raiders are pretty much, hey, we quit. We're done. There's no reason to really try any longer. So with that being the case, I don't know what kind of defensive efforts we're going to see there. I know that we've seen enough consistency from Brock Purdy to be pretty comfortable in the idea that he's going to probably score his 15 fantasy points. That being said, I mean, at this point, Brock Purdy is the safe option. Aaron Rodgers is the upside play. I think Aaron Rodgers has the potential of being like a 14 to 20 point player. He's in that range. As to whether he can actualize and get that extra touchdown that he hasn't had over the course of the last couple weeks is tough to technically predict, even with the matchup going up against the Minnesota Vikings secondary, as well as, as easy as that matchup technically is, the uncertainty of Christian Watson, the limited nature of that, and Aaron Jones kind of being a little bit kind of banged up to an extent, leads me to believe that Brock Purdy is probably the safer play of the two. Healing Meditation says, hey, Andrew, just wanted to give you a huge thanks and help during the season. Hope you have a good new year. Thank you very much. It says, how do you feel about Algier and Akers? Algier and Akers, in my mind, are both top 18 backs going into the remainder of this week. I had them ranked as such on Thursday. As soon as Tony Pollard went out, kind of made a couple adjustments accordingly. I had both those guys kind of in that top 18 conversation. Tyler Algier, again, taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Again, the Arizona Cardinals have been torched on the ground over the course of the last month. Plus, their entire secondary for the Arizona Cardinals is out this week. Just to give you some details, and this will kind of be highlighted in tomorrow's video that I put out besides the live stream, just to give you some ideas. Byron Murphy, Budda Baker, Marco Wilson, Antonio Hamilton. Those are 4 of the 5 starting secondary members of the Arizona Cardinals. They're going to be out this week. So that's going to open up so much more for Drake London. In my opinion, it'll open up the running game for the Atlanta Falcons. And the reason why we worry about opening up the running game for the Atlanta Falcons, despite the fact that this is one of the best offensive lines in the National Football League in terms of running the ball, Tyler Algier this season has seen the most 8 or more defenders in the box in terms of percentages amongst all running backs. He has seen more 8+ defenders in the box than Derrick Henry. He's seen it on 38.55% of his overall rushing attempts this season. So if Tyler Algier gets a little bit more of a easier box going up against the defense that's averaging 4.94 yards per carry averaged to opposing running backs since week 10, it seems like he's an automatic play to potentially be a league winner. Again, we know what Cam Akers has done over the course of the last month. Was it 6 touchdowns in the last 4 games? Obviously 3 this last week, but still scoring touchdowns, getting ample opportunity, getting receiving work. And against the Los Angeles Chargers, the Chargers like to play close games, guys. They're like the Minnesota Vikings. No matter how good or bad you are, they're going to play a close game. And when they do so, it'll give the opportunity for the Rams to run the ball with Cam Akers, who is certainly fighting for a job in the future. Thank you. Healing. 416 Hendricks says, should I start the Giants defense or the 49ers? Also start Lockett, Juju, Kirk, or Dotson. Okay, Giants or 49ers? I prefer the 49ers. They're my number 1 defense going into the week. They're playing against the Las Vegas Raiders that are in complete shambles. 100% play the 49ers defense at the moment. As for your follow-up question, Lockett, Juju, Kirk, or Dotson. Of the 4 options, I heavily prefer Tyler Lockett over the bunch, primarily because it seems like he's going to play. Based on what we saw, he participated in walkthroughs, and over the course of the week, the comments by Pete Carroll specifically were all positive, and even today, he gave a little bit of an indication that he's expecting him to play. So with that being the case, there's an expectation of Lockett and Kenneth Walker both playing this week. I prefer, Lockett certainly over the inconsistencies of Kirk and Juju. Jahan Dotson's still a stud, but yeah, Tyler Lockett is a guy that prior to that injury, 6 consecutive weeks of scoring a touchdown. I think we'll probably get another one here. Appreciate it. And the thing is, I know you mentioned, Hendricks, that you were worried about the matchup coming off the injury. I understand the matchup is a little bit difficult, but Sauce Gardner really is going to be covering DK Metcalf that entire game. I won't really have to worry about him covering Lockett. Thank you. Richard Rodriguez says PPR start 2. Dotson, Pittman, Lockett, Pickens, DJ Chark. Okay. Got a lot of options there. So considering we have Dotson, Pickens, Lockett, Pittman, Pickens, Chark. Okay. So if I'm picking 2 out of that group, Lockett number 1, assuming again he's going to play on Sunday, which he probably will. The next best option is probably technically going to be Michael Pittman Jr. or Jahan Dotson. In a full PPR scoring format, I'd probably lean towards playing Michael Pittman Jr. there. I'm a little bit sketched out about doing it, but I know for a fact that number 1 wide receivers against that New York Giants defense, secondary specific, number 1 wide receivers over the course of the last 6 weeks have dominated. Whether it's Lamb, whether it's McLaurin, whether it's A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, not Jerry Jeudy, Justin Jefferson, another J.J., whether it's, what's his name? Jahan Dotson. Every single outside wide receiver has really put in a great number against that defense. I think Michael Pittman probably with Tyler Lockett's the best combo there. As for your follow-up there, Richard, also pick one, Huntley, Pickett, or Wentz this week. I don't want to start Huntley against Pittsburgh. I actually like Pittsburgh's defense in terms of a top 10 defense for the remainder of the week. Pickett against the Baltimore Ravens with Marcus Peters probably out and that being already designated as of earlier today. It makes it a little bit more enticing, but I think I'm probably playing Wentz out of those 3. Thank you. Anthony Ort sends in a question. Says, start 3.5 PPR. Chark, Walker, Foreman, Dotson, Ayuk, McKinnon. Okay, really good question. I'm going to assume this is a half PPR. Under that assumption, I'd like to play Kenneth Walker. I'd like to play... it is a half PPR. You did mention that, Anthony. I appreciate that. Thank you. I just didn't see it at first. Start 3. Okay, so Kenneth Walker, number 1. He's expected to play. I'm firing him up. I'll probably want to follow that up by playing Jerick McKinnon as well. And then my third option is between Dotson and Chark. I'll probably go Dotson there. So McKinnon, Dotson, Walker. Number 4 is Chark. Number 5 is Foreman. Number 6 is Ayuk. But yeah, that's the order. Thank you. Okay, we had a question from Ibrahim. Thank you very much, Ibrahim. It says, half PPR, choose 2. Lazard, Zay, Patterson. Okay, so you said Lazard twice there. So maybe you meant another player. If you did, let me go ahead and let me look at the chat really quickly. What the heck? Am I spelling your name wrong? Oh, it's Ibra. Okay, there isn't anything outside of that. Is there? Maybe not. Ibrahim? That was it. Okay. So it's Lazard, Zay, Patterson. Let's say, for example, you didn't mean anybody else besides these 3. Yeah, besides these 3 options. If I'm picking 2, I'm playing Lazard and Zay Jones in a half PPR. I don't really feel like playing Cordero Patterson, especially considering he's kind of been phased out of his own offense as of late specifically. Bench 1, Najee Harris, K9, Juju. I probably bench Najee in the given week. I don't like running backs against Baltimore unless you play for an objectively really good team in terms of running the ball, which the Falcons were, and were able to take advantage of it mainly because of that and the receiving game that Algier was able to take advantage of. Najee receiving game with Kenny Pickett really hasn't been there, so I really can't trust it in that regard, District. Joshua Wilkins says, start 2.5 PPR, DK, Pacheco, or Dotson. I think I don't love playing DK Metcalf in any sort of capacity, but I think I might just have to in this. Oh, man, I don't have to. I almost like, I lean towards playing him just out of respect for the talent that he is. I think the smartest thing to do there, Joshua, in case of DK Metcalf, Isaiah Pacheco, and Jahan Dotson, is to legitimately bench DK Metcalf because of what Sauce Gardner has done to every other wide receiver that he's played against. Sure, he hasn't played at somebody of DK Metcalf's caliber yet, but still, I think he's up for the task. Frank Grillo says Wentz, Lawrence, or Hurts if he plays. Hurts is not going to play. It's been confirmed earlier today that Gardner Minshew will be the starting quarterback. So in that case, I would play Trevor Lawrence there. Thank you, Frank. Eric Sanchez says half PPR, Walker, Chubb, Algier, Devontae Adams, Chark, start 3. Walker, Chubb, Algier, Devontae. Okay, so if I'm starting 3, I'm legitimately benching Devontae Adams this week. I will play Walker, Chubb, and Algier ahead of him confidently, in fact. Thank you. Joshua MCC says, we have half PPR, Lazard or Metcalf, flex, RB2, Dobbins or Swift. I will play Dobbins over Swift confidently. With Jamal Williams healthy, it's not even a question that Swift will probably get himself, maybe if he's lucky, 10 touches, maybe. Probably less, to be honest. So in regards to the prior question, so yeah, Dobbins is your RB2. Lazard or Metcalf. Considering, if I'm not mistaken, the Jets play the Seahawks. Let me see what window they're in. The Jets play the Seahawks at 1:05 p.m. So this will be the determining factor for you, considering you have the ability to make this pivot. Okay, so in this specific case, answering your question, Joshua, MCC, if in fact we have a confirmation that Christian Watson is not active on Sunday afternoon, you would play Lazard over Metcalf. If he is not, then I think you can go the other way around, or kind of, I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do with Metcalf yet. I'm kind of sitting on the fence with him because I'm not 100% certain as to where I want to go, as to whether I expect him to play well or whether I expect him to get shut down like all other corners have been. But at the moment, if Christian Watson is playing, I'll probably lean towards Metcalf there. Thank you. Football Hour says, what is this? Okay, that's your league. Okay, cool. So Football Hour says Singletary or Moss. I'll take Singletary there. Follow up, Cooper or Chark. I'll take Amari. Ooh, wow. Chark's low-key been real good, man. And the thing about okay, so Chark, 90 plus receiving yards, 3 out of the last 4 games. And then on top of it, for those of you who have Chark potentially considering playing him, just as for more information, going into this week, the secondary for the Chicago Bears, Vildor, Johnson, and Eddie Jackson, 3 of the starting 5 typical safeties and cornerbacks that are in that rotation of DBs for the Chicago Bears, not active. They are either on the actually all 3 of them are on the IR. Eddie Jackson's been there for a couple weeks now, but still, the opportunity to go up against the secondary that is just a bunch of backups. Jared Goff, home and away splits. You guys ready to hear this? Jared Goff at home this season, 20 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Away, 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. They play at home this week. No other concerns against the secondary that is certainly going to be in trouble. Chark, honestly, oh man, I kind of want to play him in this scenario, but can I play him confidently over Amari Cooper? No, I can't. I'd like to play them both. I won't. At this point, I suggest Amari Cooper against Washington, and I'll play Singletary as well there. Football, thank you. TB says, full PPR Lockett, 4 p.m. game, or Dotson, 1 p.m. game. Yeah, I'm very confident with Lockett there. If you would like to play Jahan Dotson, I think look, he has a nose for the end zone. My assumption is that if he scores a touchdown, he could do it on one catch and not do anything for the rest of the game and still be a 10-point player, right? But in terms of the potential for even more upside, especially in a full PPR, I think Lockett probably kind of holds that down in my mind. Thank you, TB. Appreciate it. Phasma says, James Cook or Zach Moss in a PPR. Zach Moss got himself decent utilization. My only issue is that the Indianapolis Colts were really quick to give up on running the ball when they shouldn't have. And my concern is that they don't look at someone like Zach Moss the same way that they look at, Jonathan Taylor, as someone that they can trust giving the ball to 20 times to. But, I mean, they really should be. If, in fact, this game for James Cook was like a blowout matchup, the Buffalo Bills were playing against, let's say, for example, the Arizona Cardinals, I'd say, yes, we're starting James Cook because he'll be good in garbage time. But considering we're probably not in that scenario, I think James Cook probably is just a better option there. Isaiah Flores says, in a 10-team family league, flex question, standard scoring. All right, I'm glad that we established all that because that actually does help. Thank you, Isaiah. McKinnon, Dobbins, Gabe Davis, Hopkins. Of those 4 options in a standard scoring format, I like Dobbins a lot. But the issue is Dobbins, if he doesn't find the end zone, even if he gets himself like a 100-yard game, Jerick McKinnon probably outscores him. That's just the fact of the matter. So at this moment, the fact that Jerick McKinnon last 4 weeks, 6 touchdowns, McCole Hardman is not going to be playing this week. Andy Reid confirmed that earlier today. Jerick McKinnon is probably your play out of the bunch. Follow up. Also, would you pick up A.J. Dillon off waiver? Yes, I would pick up A.J. Dillon and start him over all 4 of those options, actually, in fact, Isaiah. So if you have the ability to do so, you should. Thank you. Jose Torres says, Aaron Jones, Jalen Waddle, Kenneth Walker, Jerick McKinnon, pick 2 of these options. I would be probably playing in a half PPR Kenneth Walker, and I think I'm probably playing. It's between Aaron Jones and Jalen Waddle there as the number 2 guy next to Kenneth Walker. Maybe I just start both those guys. Here's the thing. In a championship game, in a week in which I'm in a position where I'm afraid of Aaron Jones being limited and or leaving with an injury again, considering you have such really good alternative options, Jose, I think you just play Kenneth Walker and Jalen Waddle there. Xavier W says, start D-Hop, Knight, Pacheco, Richie James, Chark, Demarcus Robinson, Romeo Dobbs. Thank you. Okay, so if we're playing one of these potential options in the given week, if it's a full PPR, it is a full PPR. I think Richie James or DJ Chark's your option. I think probably DJ Chark is a little bit higher on my rankings. Full PPR, Richie James does close the gap a little bit there, considering Kenny Moore is out for sure, and so is Isaiah Rodgers for the Indianapolis secondary. So it's going to be Chark most likely out of the group though. And then Rich James second. As for your follow-up question, Giants, Ravens, or Jaguars defense this week? Let me see where I had them ranked in terms of Patreon on Thursday. I mean, again, they could probably be adjusted by the time I get to Sunday morning if, in fact, anything is to arise in terms of information. But at the current moment, in terms of defensive rankings, I have the Jaguars at... Okay, let's go over defensive rankings, just for those of you who are curious in the chat. San Francisco 49ers, number 1. I had Dallas at number 2. I mean, they had 10 points. I think they were okay. I mean, 10 points is not number 2 defense of the week, but I thought they would play a lot better against Tennessee, but they didn't. There were a lot of interceptions that Diggs could have had. Anyway, San Francisco 1, Dallas was 2, Philadelphia 3, Baltimore 4, Jacksonville 5, New York Giants 6, Kansas City 7, New England 8, Los Angeles Chargers 9, Pittsburgh Steelers 10, New York Jets 11, Tampa Bay Buccaneers 12. That's what I had it on Thursday, so it's pretty much back-to-back with that Jaguars-Giants kind of ranking. But Jaguars does kind of take the cake there. All right, moving on. Appreciate it. Let me see here. I've almost caught up on some of these super chats. I know I'm very long-winded in my answers. Apologies in advance. You know, guys, I like to talk, especially when you get me going on a couple subjects. That's just the way I am. I appreciate it though. Outlaw says, if Christian Watson is out, do I go Lazard over DK or Garrett Wilson? Yes, I'd play Lazard over DK. I would not play him over Garrett Wilson though. Thank you. Uwu Savage says, full PPR, any changes? Fields, AJ Brown, Higgins, ETN, Algier, Goddard, Swift, Myers, Philadelphia defense, along with Purdy, Dobbins, Zay Jones, Rashad White, and Dotson on my bench. In a full PPR, yeah, I probably make a switch here. I probably am not starting DeAndre Swift. I like DeAndre Swift a lot, especially against Chicago. I just don't know if I trust him more than someone like Zay Jones or Jahan Dotson in a full PPR in your flex spot there. Otherwise, everything else is fine and in the best possible spot that you can be in. Thank you, Savage. Okay, I see you. Mark says, 1 QB, 1 running back, 1 flex in a full PPR scoring format. Who do I start? We have Trevor Lawrence, Fields. Okay, I'm going to play Fields over Lawrence. AJ Brown, Fournette, Rashad White. If I'm starting 1 running back out of those 3 options, considering Aaron Jones is going to be active, do I want to still play? It's a full PPR. I kind of have to play Leonard Fournette there, especially after last week. The guy didn't even score a touchdown, and he was a 20-point player. So, actually, how much was he in a full PPR? I know in a half, because that's primarily what I'm kind of giving rankings on and doing like the stats for. What did he do in a full PPR last week? Let's see here. Week 16, Tampa Bay running back. Let's change the scoring from a full PPR. He had 25 points with 25.2 points without scoring a touchdown. Yeah, you're probably in line to where you play Fournette there, especially in a full PPR. And then as for your follow-up question, who do I play in the flex? Garrett Wilson, Evan Ingram, and or one of the other following players that were mentioned. I think do I want to play Evan Ingram over Garrett Wilson? Probably not. I think Garrett Wilson has a higher ceiling. So Garrett Wilson's probably the flex there. Thank you. Morgan Hart says, just showed up. Got a few for you. Okay, cool. Let's do this, Morgan. Minshew, Daniel Jones, Aaron Rodgers. Which are the 3? I'm going to play Minshew. It's already been confirmed that Jalen Hurts is out. Minshew, again, 11 of his last 13 games, 2 or more touchdowns. I'm pretty confident with him and the team that surrounds him that they'll be able to get it done. As for your follow-up, Gano, McLaughlin, Patterson at kicker. I'll take Graham. Is it Graham Gano? I'm pretty sure it's, Graham Gano for the New York Giants. At this moment, he's my number 3 kicker of the remaining kickers that I have that haven't played already. So he is higher ranked than the rest of the group. So Graham Gano's the play there. As for defense, Indianapolis or Detroit, if it's between those 2, and those are the only ones that you have there, Morgan, you're playing Detroit's defense. And you hope that Justin Fields turns over the ball. Because I'm not playing Indianapolis. Thank you. Ray Donovan says, Devontae Adams or Amari Cooper. I'll play Amari Cooper there. Follow up, Deontay Foreman or Josh Jacobs. I'll play Foreman there. I'm legitimately not starting any Raiders this weekend, guys. I cannot consciously I can't do it. It is too difficult for me to start them with a backup quarterback in a game against the best defense in the National Football League with a backup quarterback that is really not that good, guys. Jarrett Stidham, they're going to put him in positions to succeed. It's just not going to work, man. Not against that defense. If they were playing against, I mean, really, I would even venture to say anyone else. If they were playing against anyone else, it would be perfectly fine. But the 49ers are no joke, man. They just, yeah, it's too difficult. Michael Recor, what's up, Michael? Hope you're doing well. Says Noah Fant or Juwan Johnson this week. I'd probably still go with Juwan Johnson over him, mainly because Tyler Lockett is going to be active, and on top of the fact that Noah Fant has been questionable all week. I think it's with an illness. I can confirm this, so he might not be his full self going into this weekend's game. So it's let me see here. What was the injury designation for Noah Fant? It's actually a knee. That's not even. That's worse. So at that point, still, yeah. Juwan Johnson's the guy that I feel most comfortable with. As to your follow-up question, Singletary or Zonovan Knight? Listen, I like Zonovan Knight. The last two games with Zonovan Knight, there could be a conversation in terms of the correlation between Zonovan Knight playing badly and the fact that Zach Wilson was a starting quarterback. But the fact of the matter was, this team, the running attack in the last 2 weeks have just kind of been shut down. I'm worried that it could occur again. I doubt that it's completely shut down. So at this point, I'm probably just safer leaning towards Singletary. As for your follow-up question, DJ Moore or Drake London, I think both are starting options. I prefer DJ Moore, but quite frankly, Drake London, at very base minimum, similar to the last 2 weeks, 7 catches, 70 yards, should be once again another one of these weeks. So at base minimum in a full PPR, for those of you who have Drake London, 14 fantasy points are going to be going in his direction. The reason why I say base minimum is because, like I mentioned earlier, no Budda Baker, no Byron Murphy, no Marco Wilson, and no Antonio, I think it's Hamilton for that secondary. Let me confirm this. And no Antonio Hamilton. 4 of their starting 5 starting quarterbacks or DBs are out. Drake London's a great play. But yeah, DJ Moore, 15 plus points, 3 out of the last 4 weeks. Has had himself some success against his division rival. Jamel Dean's not going to play. So it should be a pretty easy game here for DJ Moore and Sam Darnold there. Alvin says half PPR, flex 1, Algier, Ayuk, Lazard, Chark. In a half PPR, I'll take Algier out of the group. The only reason I wouldn't, the only reason I wouldn't play Algier is if, in fact, Watson was out and Lazard was playing. But the issue is the 10 a.m. game is Atlanta versus Arizona, so you just have to play Algier without knowing what's going to happen in the afternoon. But I think it's still a great play there in that regard. TB says, can you list your top 10 kickers? Yeah, I will. Let me go ahead. Let's filter over. So number 1 on the week, I had Brett Maher. Again, he's already played. So then the following is number 2, Evan McPherson. Number 3, Graham Gano. Number 4, Justin Tucker. Number 5 is Riley Patterson. Number 6, Eddie Pinheiro. Number 7 is Matt Prater. Number 8, Tyler Bass. Number 9, Nick Folk. Number 10, Harrison Butker. 11 is Michael Badgley. Number 12 is Cameron Dicker. I could probably adjust that because, again, I think Matt Prater from 7 on Thursday probably goes down now that, David Blau is the starting kicker there. So that'll probably be adjusted, but that'll give you an idea. Will Roberts says Goddard or Njoku. I'm probably, I'd probably play Njoku there. Yeah, I'll probably play Njoku. Thank you. And Aaron Jones or Dobbins, I'll play Aaron Jones there. Thank you. Rick sends in a question with a Q. Rick with the Q. Says full PPR, Swift, Montgomery, or Algier. I'll take Algier there. Thank you. Seattle Fishing. Seattle, let me see where you're at, my man, because you sent that in probably a while back, and I haven't really been keeping up with the live chat. So, yeah. So, Seattle, if you can do me a solid, go ahead and type in the chat what your question was because it wasn't attached to it. It'd be greatly appreciated. Let me go ahead and see what's going on in the chat. Swift or AJ Dillon? Yeah, I think I'm playing AJ Dillon very confidently there. Like I mentioned earlier this week, guys, AJ Dillon in the last 5 weeks has been relevant in fantasy, and it hasn't only been in the games where AJ Dillon has left with an injury. He's still been relevant in those other games. He is primarily the goal line back that they want to utilize, and in those short yardage situations, they'll continue to get him going. And on top of it, he's going to get himself receiving work, so there's no issue there at all. Z-Lugs says, thanks for all the content, Andrew, this season. Unfortunately, I lost in the semis because I sat Myers for Seattle's good win. Yeah, that's an unfortunate thing. Yeah, wait, I'm trying to remember. Did I have Marquise Goodwin ranked higher than Myers that week? Because if it, I mean, that's on me. That's on me. Like I'll take the L because that's, whew, I mean, how many receptions did Marquise Goodwin have? 0. I think he had 4 targets, 0 catches. That was a brutal game. Let me actually check. I'm actually curious where I had him. If I go to Sunday, where the heck is last Sunday's live stream? If I go to my live stream tab here, is this Sunday's? Yeah, this is Sunday. Let me actually check here. Let me mute that. Let me fast forward. Where did I have him in comparison? So I had Marquise Goodwin at 26, and I had, where the heck is Myers? I don't think I even had Myers on the list. Wait, where the heck is Myers? Cook, Ayuk, Dotson, Gabe Davis, Richie James. I had Myers at 36. Yeah, that's on me. Apologies. That's on me. Damn. Oof, that's brutal. Yeah, 0-point game. Who would have guessed, huh? Who would have effing guessed? Start Higgins, DK, or Smitty. At this point, it's. I mean, I'm probably playing Devontae Smith. I think Higgins is just as valuable, Choppa. So you could probably play them both, or one or the other. But I think DK is probably the odd man out in that scenario. Would you start Akers over Mixon? Probably not. I think if you're playing in any sort of PPR format, half or full PPR, it really is difficult not to start Mixon based on the volume of receptions he continues to get. That's kind of the idea. Happy New Year's. Thanks. Yeah, no problem. Hey, listen, hopefully it's going to be a happy New Year. Hopefully for those of us who are still in it, we can go ahead and lock in a championship, with the remaining rosters that we have. Oh, what the heck happened there? Seattle, you here? All right, Seattle was there, and then Seattle followed up saying, Allen or Burrow, full PPR. Yeah, wait, if I'm picking between those two guys, Seattle Fishing, I'm playing Josh Allen. Yeah, I'm certainly playing Josh Allen. Like, without a doubt in my mind. Thank you. Morgan Hart says, start 3, Gabe Davis, Chris Olave, Michael Pittman Jr., Isaiah Hodgins, Raheem Mostert, David Njoku, and Russell Gage. If Olave doesn't play, who do I start instead? Okay. So first and foremost, out of the 3, the 3 that I'd like to primarily suggest is, yes, Michael Pittman Jr. number 1, Isaiah Hodgins number 2, Chris Olave 3. If Chris Olave is not active this week, let's hope he plays in the morning slate. He does play in the morning slate against Philadelphia in Philadelphia. Should be a chilly game there in the morning. But if in fact he is not active by Sunday morning, Morgan, I would then suggest pivoting to most likely, I'd probably suggest going to Gabe Davis. So it'd be Isaiah Hodgins, Michael Pittman, and Gabe Davis in that case. Thank you. Johnny Tran, let's see here. Where art thou? Let me look you up, my man. It's 2 ends. Okay, cool. Says, hi, Andrew, made the championship game. All right, what's your question, my man? Says, half PPR. Who'd you play at wide receiver? DK, Dotson, or Richie James? Also, would you play any of these guys over Pacheco in the flex? Half PPR scoring for am I playing him any of them? Okay, here's the thing about Pacheco. Pacheco is probably 10 points. If he scores a touchdown, he's probably 16. I probably wouldn't start any of them over Pacheco in the flex, especially in a half PPR. Pacheco's getting himself a little bit more work in the receiving game. You never know. He might end up breaking one off. Who am I starting out of those 3? That's still the most difficult question. I'm probably... Oh, man. Can I legitimately start Dotson over DK Metcalf? These are the Friday questions that Andrew has to loom over and actually breaks my brain at times. I think I actually might start Jahan Dotson over DK Metcalf this week. I'm legitimately afraid of Sauce Gardner locking him down. Legitimately. And I actually think he will. So it's probably in a position where if the likelihood is there, Jahan Dotson's probably the better play. If it was a full PPR, I'd probably just tell you to play Richie James, but it's half. So we'll just go for the touchdown upside of Jahan Dotson, and I probably wouldn't play Richie James over Pacheco. So we'll take Pacheco in that regard. Thank you. After Johnny, let me see here. The next super chat was from Scott. Scott says, in a PPR, I need 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 2 flex options. We have Barkley, we have Walker, we have the likes of Kamara, Dillon, Akers, Godwin, Higgins, Metcalf. Holy moly, we got players, huh? So Barkley has to play. Against the Indianapolis Colts, one of the best matchups of the week. Barkley probably goes for like 24 fantasy points. That'll be a fun game. As for your second RB, I'll take Kenneth Walker there, considering Aaron Jones back moves Dillon down just a little bit off the lineup. As for your 2 wide receivers, Higgins and Godwin are the 2 plays there. Boom, boom. As for your flex options, I'll play Dillon alongside Akers. Thank you. Morgan Hart follows that up, says super flex format. Minshew, Wentz, Huntley, Bridgewater. I'll play Minshew and Wentz there as the two starters. Thank you. David Waters. David, long time no see. What's up, man? I always see you in the comment section, but let's see what you have for me here today. Flex question. Stevenson, Dobbs, or Khalil Herbert? I need one. It's Ramondre Stevenson. Yeah, for sure it's going to be Ramondre Stevenson. I know he's been questionable to play all week long, but I think it's pretty solid that he's going to end up playing. The assumption from the organization is that he's going to play. So that's kind of where I'm leaning in the direction of. Thank you, David. I appreciate it. Let's see here. After David, we had a question from the Beast Hydra. Says, starting lineup: Dak, Eckler, AJ Dillon, CeeDee Lamb. Who else was nervous about Dak after that first half, huh? I was definitely starting to bite my nails at that point. I was like, all right, guys, come on, Cowboys, wake up a little bit here. Wake up. Okay, so Dak, Eckler, AJ Dillon, CeeDee Lamb, Higgins, Higbee, Garrett Wilson. My kicker is Gano. We have the 49ers defense. Okay, so your kicker and special teams are going to be really solid for you this week. Benches Lamar. Okay, he's out, so you can drop Lamar. Here, guys, really quickly, I think this is extremely important for me to mention. I'll probably regret not mentioning it earlier. Please, if you have players on your bench that are injured, Lamar Jackson is already deemed out. He is not playing this week. Drop him now and make sure you go pick up a player off waivers that is specifically going to counter your opposing team. Let's say, for example, you're playing someone that has a sketchy defense. Maybe they played, Cleveland last week and they got some points out of them. And this week, you're like, well, is he going to change his defense or he's just going to hold whatever he has right now? If I was you, I would drop Lamar Jackson and go pick up a defense just to impede him on having more opportunity of taking a wider variety of defenses, especially defenses like the New York Giants, the Jacksonville Jaguars that are sitting there on the waivers. You might want to go pick them up just to prevent your opposing teams from getting after those kind of guys. But again, it's only players that are like out. Like if you have Tony Pollard on your bench right now because you didn't play him last night, or Derrick Henry and this is your final week of the season, you drop them in order to prevent your opponent from going out and picking up players that they might end up using against you. You know what I mean? But anyway, to answer your question in specific, I don't know what the heck happened there. Beast, I don't think I'm changing anything. I mean, Juju could be in the conversation, but quite frankly, I don't like him more than Higgins or Garrett Wilson this week. Swift is not better than AJ Dillon or Eckler in any sort of capacity. Waller can't be trusted in comparison to Higbee at this moment in time. So at this point, Beast, you got yourself your best possible lineup in there. I have no problems with that. Michael Nugent says, half PPR flex, Pacheco, Olave, Deontay, Pittman. In a half PPR, I'll probably play Isaiah Pacheco there. Thank you. Yeah, I will play Isaiah Pacheco there. Let's see here. Sale says Swift, Dobbins, Bam, Knight, RB2 full PPR. Swift, Dobbins, and Knight in a half PPR RB2. As much as I like Swift, I don't know if I can trust him in a half PPR in that capacity. I think I probably play, man. Here's the thing. If Dobbins doesn't score a touchdown, Swift has a chance of outscoring him. And so does Zonovan Knight, to be totally honest. And with Mike White back, Zonovan Knight probably gets more utilization in the receiving game than he normally did over the last couple weeks. You guys remember a couple weeks back, Zonovan Knight, 5 receptions out of that backfield. He's a pretty stable part of that offense. So I'm probably leaning towards full PPR this week. I'm probably playing Bam Knight over Dobbins and Swift in a full PPR. Yeah. We took care of David Waters' question. Anvesh says Happy New Year's in advance. Andrew, thank you very much. I appreciate it, Anvesh. If you have any other questions, let me know in the chat and I'll get to it right now. Charles Hill says half PPR, Ramondre, Kamara, Judy, Pacheco, Bam. Ramondre is number 1, and I'm probably playing Judy as number 2 out of the group. Yeah, I'll go Ramondre and Judy there, Charles. Thank you. Play-by-play says Brian Robinson or Ramondre Stevenson. I'll take Brian Robinson there. As for your follow-up, Jacksonville defense, Steelers defense, Chargers, or Giants. I have them ranked in this following order. You ready for it? Jaguars 1, Giants 2, and then if I'm not mistaken, it's Chargers 3, Steelers 4. So Jaguars would be the play there against Houston this week. Thank you. Okay, let me go ahead. Let me scroll back down to the chat, see what's going on here. Juju, Wilson, London, Donovan Peoples-Jones, or Dotson. Pick 2. Out of this group of players, I would love to play Garrett Wilson and Drake London this week. I'll play both the rookies in this given week. If I had a chance, I would then also play the third rookie, which is Dotson, but these two are really good plays in the given week. Who should I start? Mixon, Jones, Walker, or Kamara? Mixon, Jones, Walker, or Kamara. Okay. So if I'm and which 3 wide receivers should I start? Okay, so let's say we're assuming, right, Legion, that we're starting 2 of these running backs. If I'm starting 2 of these guys, I'm probably playing Mixon and Walker, and then Jones third, Kamara fourth. As for the follow-up question, which 3 wide receivers should I start? I have Godwin, Adams, Waddle, Lockett, and Hopkins. It's probably Godwin, Waddle, and Lockett. Because again, Adams has the backup quarterback issue. Hopkins has the backup quarterback issue and the knee injury that he sustained earlier today at practice, which made him exit. So yeah, it's probably going to be like Mixon, Walker, Godwin, Waddle, Lockett, which is a lot. It's very Seattle Seahawks centric, considering there's 2 options from that team, but it's not a bad option there. Algier is the play over Swift there. Full PPR, flex 1, Olave, London, Dotson, or Thielen. In a full PPR scoring format, I'll play Drake London with my eyes closed really confidently there, Sam. Thank you. What do we think, chat? Gino, assuming Lockett plays, or Daniel Jones? You know what? That's actually a good question. I'd like to actually poll the chat in that regard. So let's start a poll. Which QB should we start? Number 1, Geno Smith. Or number 2, Daniel Jones. Let's see what the chat has to say, shall we? All right, we did see a super chat come in here from Danny A, or I, says, Brian Robinson or Kamara. I'll take Brian Robinson over Kamara this week. Follow up, Taysom Hill or Conklin. If it's any sort of PPR format, I'll probably play Conklin there this weekend. Thank you. Bacon sends in a question, says, if Judy sits, he won't. He's going to be expected to play. I know he was limited all week, but from the interviews that I saw and all the research that I did prior to today's stream, it is for sure Judy's going to play. But anyway, let's say, for example, he sits, theoretically. Pick 1. Ayuk or Richie James Jr. in a full PPR. I would play Richie James Jr. there in the absence of Judy if it was Sir Kerr, but I doubt it does. Nick Wibley says, Lockett or Tyler Algier in a full PPR. Wow. I would probably feel more comfortable playing Tyler Lockett there, specifically because of the full PPR nature of it. I know Tyler Algier had 5 targets, 4 receptions last week, but that's very, very seldom do we see Tyler Algier utilized in that manner. And very seldom do I think that are they going to use him in that manner going forward in specific. We did see a couple more questions come in here. Peace Dog, let me just go ahead and look at it in the chat. Survived Denver's defense last week. Hey, congratulations. Not many of us did. I'm not even joking. I won 2 matchups last week. So of the teams that I have in the Super Bowl, 2 of them specifically got in because that Denver Broncos defense got -4 points. So you may have played them and you may have lost out on a championship, potential team here because of that defense. Who would have guessed that 51 points from the LA Rams? I don't think the LA Rams have put up 50 points in the last 3 years. And now they all of a sudden want to do with Baker at quarterback. I need help. Pick 1 wide receiver, 2 running backs, and a flex. We have Waddle, we have Garrett Wilson, we have Mixon, we have Walker, Stevenson, Algier in a non-PPR scoring format. Okay. So considering the non-PPR nature of this league. Okay, so at this moment, I'll probably play Walker at running back. I'll also follow up by playing Mixon. Do I want to play Mixon there, or do I want to play... I'm trying to think about what I want to do in this flex spot. If Garrett Wilson doesn't score a touchdown, we're probably in a little bit... So it's probably something like this. You go Walker, Mixon, Waddle, and Algier. I think that's the play there, piece. It is tough, though, because I could legitimately convince myself to sit Mixon and play Walker and Algier, and then play Waddle and Garrett Wilson, but I just don't know. This is the wild card in this factor. It's the Wilson versus Mixon conversation in a standard format, which both of them are heavily reliant on those receiving points to be solidified options. Now, underneath your question, we had Ben here. It says, for wide receiver and flex, Kirk, Ayuk, Dotson, Judy, Dobbins, Montgomery. Wide receiver out of this group would be Judy. And in the flex, I'm probably playing Jahan Dotson there. Yeah. Walker or Mixon got Saquon. Yeah, again, it depends on format. If it's a half PPR, full PPR, I'd probably play Mixon there. If it's a standard, I'd probably go Walker, just like I was kind of referring to. Njoku, Knox, or Kmet. Njoku, Knox, Kmet. Yeah, so at this point, I have Dawson Knox highest ranked. The second highest ranked is Komet. Third is Njoku. So Knox would be the play. 3 consecutive weeks of playing as well as he has. It's just far too, difficult to sit him. So of the poll that we have here on screen, it is Daniel Jones that takes the cake here. Not by surprise. Again, Geno Smith has to play against the Jets. And I don't think, that secondary is a nightmare, guys. It really is. So I think if Geno gets away with 1 passing touchdown this week, specifically in the direction of Tyler Lockett, that's kind of what we're base expecting in comparison to Daniel Jones, who this week in specific, he takes on the Indianapolis Colts that has no Kenny Moore and no Isaiah Rodgers. While Darius Slayton on one side of the field is going to be preoccupied with Stephon Gilmore, Gilly Lock, we're going to have Isaiah Hodgins and Saquon Barkley, along with Mr. Richie James Jr., dicing up the rest of this defense. Daniel Jones is, and of course, they call him Vanilla Vic there in New York for a reason. The guy can run, has his upside there. He's probably the better play. And 63% agree with me on the matter. We can keep voting on the matter, but either way. C. Crip sends in a question. C. Crip says, hey, Andrew, I need 2 running backs and a flex in a full PPR. Mike Williams, Leonard Fournette, Swift, Algier, Cam Akers. Okay. 2 running backs. I'm playing Fournette and I'm playing Algier, and I'm flexing Cam Akers. I'm not playing Mike Williams and I'm not playing Swift. So it's Fournette, Algier, and Akers. As for your follow-up, if D-Hop sits, I'm already starting Devonta Smith. Yeah, I think even if he plays in your regard, dude, do I even want to play him in? No, I don't think I even play him there. I think I probably just sit DeAndre Hopkins. My assumption again is probably going to be him not playing this week and them just shutting him down for the season. But you never know. But for right now, until further notice, Fournette, Algier, Akers. Thank you. Dwayne Wells says, how's it going, Andrew? It's going pretty well. This is a very late stream. I don't think I've ever streamed this late in my entire YouTube existence. So I do appreciate y'all coming out and supporting in this regard. I know for the West Coast people, it's technically early. It's only 10:14 p.m. For those of you who are on the East Coast, again, apologies. But hey, you guys are used to staying up late to watch games anyway on the West Coast. So I'm sure you got, it's Friday, right? Maybe some of you got work. Maybe some of you are at work. I don't know. But hey, thank you for being here. I appreciate it, guys. You guys supporting the channel as much as you do. It's greatly appreciated, especially through this entire marathon. It's week 17 already. Can you imagine that? Like, my brain has already started to work towards next season. Like, I'm beginning to think, like, who's the number 1 overall pick next year? Like, in a full PPR, legitimately, it's Justin Jefferson, right? Like, okay, anyway, I don't want to get over there. Dwayne Wells, thank you very much. Let's see what your question was. Full PPR. Who would you start in the flex this week? Gus Edwards, Evan Engram, DPJ, or Jahan Dotson? In a full PPR flex this week, I have a hard time not playing Evan Engram there. I think Jahan Dotson could be, if it was a half PPR, it would probably be Jahan Dotson, but I think Evan Engram is most likely to play. In a full PPR against Houston, their lack of ability to cover tight ends, the fact that they're starting cornerbacks, Desmond King, Steven Nelson, they're probably going to be playing pretty well against Zay Jones and or Marvin Jones, Christian Kirk. I think Evan Ingram's the play there this week. Moving on to Professor Pigeon says, half PPR pick 3, Cook, Walker, Jacobs, Fournette. Okay, so of the available options, I'm playing Cook, Walker, and Fournette. I am sitting Josh Jacobs. It is an unfortunate reality. The matchup, the way that this team is trending, the backup quarterback nature, it's not in his best interest. It's not in our best interest to even play Josh Jacobs. It's not in Josh Jacobs' best interest to probably play in that game either. Thank you. Moving on, we had Zach Jacobs. He has a question, says full PPR. 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and 2 flex. Okay, cool. We have Chubb, we have Akers, we have Keenan Allen, we have Tay, as in Devontae Adams, Christian Watson, Algier, Najee Harris, McLaurin, Kirk. How do you have this army? That's my question. What is this team, Zach? This is an army. This isn't a team. Oh my, this is the Avengers assembled lineup, dude. Like, what is happening here? Okay, so of the players that you have available, 2 wide receivers. So Keenan Allen's one of them. I would like to play Christian Watson as the other under the assumption that he's healthy this week. If he is not going to be healthy, which we won't know until the afternoon game, the second best option in my mind out of this group is most likely going to be Drake London. So for right now, Keenan Allen, Drake London. McLaurin's the third best, but we'll get there potentially in a flex option. So Keenan Allen, London. Running backs, you have Chubb, you have Akers, you have Algier. Okay, you have Najee. We have Okay, so and we have Kenneth Walker. So Kenneth Walker probably plays alongside Chubb there in terms of your RB1 and 2. And then as for your flex options, it's probably Algier alongside in a full PPR Terry McLaurin. So again, from just to rattle it off from top to bottom, Keenan Allen alongside of do I want to change anything there? Probably not. Yeah. So it's Keenan Allen, Drake London at wide receiver. Running backs are Chubb and Algier, and then flex is going to be McLaurin, and probably leaning in the direction of if Watson's available, you play him. Otherwise, you play Akers. Thank you. Christian Rios sends in a question. Says, I have 2 wide receivers that I need to start. Who do I start out of the following? Out of DeAndre Hopkins, DK Metcalf, Garrett Wilson, Brandon Ayuk. Garrett Wilson is for sure playing out of the group. If DeAndre Hopkins is active, I probably play him over the rest. Otherwise, it's probably... Do I play Ayuk? I mean, you probably play Ayuk there. I mean, it's tough to play D-Hop or DK in any sort of capacity this week, to be honest. This is the thing about DK Metcalf. I have seen him in seasons past play a matchup where I'm like, I'm afraid of DK. And then he stiff arms Marshawn Lattimore on the sideline, and then he goes for 80 yards and a touchdown, never catches the ball for the remainder of that game, yet he scores 16 fantasy points, right? Like, there's a possibility that he could do stuff like that he's that kind of player. It's just at this point, Garrett Wilson, D-Hop, Ayuk, DK. That's kind of the order that I'm mentally rolling with. But yeah, I don't love it. All right. Just a warning, guys, really quickly. A couple more questions will be answered. I will be back tomorrow afternoon from 1 to 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I will also have a video out tomorrow morning. So that's basically what I was doing earlier today. Got all the information settled, recorded a 50-minute video. That'll be posted tomorrow in regards to any little last-minute updates for Week 17. It'll be included in that video. So we'll have a video tomorrow. We'll be live streaming tomorrow again from 1 to 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, answering similar questions, stuff of that nature. And then Sunday morning, for some of us, the final time of the season, I'll be here again for Week 18 for those of you who need Week 18 rankings. But either way, in the new year on January 1st, Sunday morning, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'll be here answering questions with up-to-date rankings on screen like we do every Sunday morning. So for those of you who are interested, swing on by. I greatly appreciate it. We're going to answer a couple more questions. Then your boys got to go. And because I recorded that video before going live, I still got to go edit it and I still got to upload. You guys can only imagine. When I tell you guys that a 50-minute video takes an hour and 40 minutes to upload, that's how terrible my internet is. That's why when I live stream, and I'm always sitting here like, guys, I'm afraid that this thing's going to go out. Sometimes when I'm uploading, it goes out. You guys be wondering, Andrew, why does it take so long for your uploads to come out? Like, I'm sitting here, it's 9 p.m. and it finally goes live. It's because my internet is dog water. Andrew needs fiber, okay? We're going to get fiber optics soon. But anyway, let me answer a couple more of these questions. We had a question from Dragon. It says, pick 2 between Watson, Kamara, Walker, and Montgomery in a full PPR. Okay, so Walker for sure. The only other question I have is whether or not, first and foremost, is Watson going to be active? The likelihood of him being active is up in the air. So at this current position, considering Detroit and New Orleans both play in the morning slate as well, and you can't really wait to see if Watson is going to play unless you have Alan Lazard as a pivoting option, you probably just play Walker with Kamara. Kyle Strobel says, Stevenson, Walker, Algier. Pick one in a full PPR scoring format. Stevenson seems iffy. I agree. I don't like him as the option. I'll take Kenneth Walker this week. Craft Keeper says, peace, Andrew. What's up? How are you doing? Well, Craft says PPR, tight end pick 1. Komet, Higbee, and Njoku. I'll take Higbee out of the 3. As for your follow-up question, next, pick 1 running back, Chuba Hubbard or Dillon. I'll take A.J. Dillon there. Final question, also pick 1, Evans, Thielen, Chuba, Moss, or Curtis Samuel. I'll take Mike Evans out of the group. Thank you. Atlas Westbrook, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Atlas is actually a pretty cool name, actually, Atlas, huh? Atlas. Yeah, I like that name. Full PPR. I have Eckler as my RB1, and I'm having a hard time with the flex decision between Brian Robinson and Akers. Okay, so that's, I mean, I don't blame you, to be totally honest, because those are 2 really good options in the given week. Reason behind your choice. Okay, so here's the primary thought process that I have in regards to both these running backs. Brian Robinson has typically, over the course, I mean, again, just imagine what he's done. Since week 10, I think it's week 10. Actually, let me confirm this. Where's the stat here? I have the stat. Let me just go and find it. Here it is. From weeks 10 through 16, Brian Robinson Jr. is averaging 19 rushing attempts per game, 90 total yards per game, about 11.48 fantasy points per game, and a half PPR scoring format. So if in fact we go ahead and we take into account that he's averaging nearly 20 touches per game, just off of, the course of the last, I'd say 6 weeks here, and then we add the idea that Antonio Gibson's out. If Antonio Gibson, who over the course of the last couple of weeks getting himself 8, 9, 10 rushing attempts, a handful of receptions, is going to be absent, this could be a game against Cleveland in which they very easily give Brian Robinson the ball 30 plus times. I'm not even joking. I know Jonathan Williams is in that backfield and he might get himself some touches, but ultimately this is Brian Robinson's backfield and will continue to be for the future considering he's the best running back of the group. So considering that high volume potential and the matchup in itself, I'm leaning in his direction. I think the passing upside there, I think the offense in itself is a little bit more fine-tuned in comparison. I know Akers is coming off a monster week. I just think that it's, those kind of performances from Akers, are once in every, blue moon. At this point, if Akers is going to have a good performance, I could see it happening in the case of 60 rushing yards, 2 catches for 20, a rushing touchdown, ends up getting himself 16 fantasy points or 14 fantasy points. Boom. I think Brian Robinson probably surpasses that. I think Brian Robinson could really tear apart this Cleveland defense like all these other running backs have. Thank you, Atlas. BBK says, I have to sit one: St. Brown, Hopkins, Higgins, Godwin, K9, Jacobs, Kamara. If I'm sitting one out of the group, I'm probably sitting Jacobs unless DeAndre Hopkins is injured and not playing, and then I'm sitting him, right? So that's kind of the rotation that I'm looking at. Thank you. Let's see here. Black Ops says, dude, Black Ops 1 was probably the best Call of Duty that has ever existed. I mean, that I'm telling you, man, Black Ops 2 is pretty good too, but those are the 2 best Call of Duties, easily. Says full PPR flex decision. D-Hop, Fournette, Amari Cooper, Mark Andrews. Starting TJ Hawkinson already. Yeah, you should start TJ Hawkinson. I would suggest playing Leonard Fournette in the flex. Thank you. Travis says, hi, Andrew. Keenan Allen or Travis Etienne in the flex? Depends on scoring format. If you're in a full PPR, I'm probably playing Keenan Allen there. If it's a half PPR, I'm probably playing Travis Etienne against Houston. Really advantageous matchup. Everybody who's played against Houston has dominated. Travis Etienne probably continue to do the same. Let's see here. Cornelius Terry says, for my RB2, Deontay Foreman, Rashad White. For the flex, Jerry Jeudy, DJ Chark, or Tyler Boyd. Okay, RB2, I'm playing Deontay Foreman there. Flex, I'm playing Jerry Jeudy. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. Let me see what else we had in terms of questions in the live chat. Just want to catch up here. Half PPR, 2 flex league. I have Adams. I have Devonta Smith. I have Waddle, Godwin, Hopkins, and Fournette. Who am I sitting? Well, here's the thing. If we have these options and these are your flex options, I mean, let's just put it this way. Let's just give you an example as to who we're sitting. I'm not playing Hopkins if he's going to be limp, and I'm not playing Adams with that backup quarterback. I'd rather play Devonta Smith. I'd rather play Waddle. I'd rather play Godwin. I'd rather play Fournette. So those 4 guys I'm playing, I'm sitting those 2 older gentlemen that unfortunately are playing with 3rd-string quarterbacks this week. Let's see here. Kevin says full PPR, Deontay Johnson or Zonovan Knight. I'll take Deontay Johnson there. Marcus Peters is out. Could be a pretty good week here. JSMK23 says PPR pick 2. Cooper, Ayuk, McLaurin, Mike Williams, Pacheco, or White. Cooper and McLaurin, probably. In a full PPR, it's Cooper and McLaurin. Yeah, that's where that is 100% what I would do. I'd play Amari Cooper and I'd play Terry McLaurin there, JM. Thank you. Full PPR, Ramondre Stevenson, Christian Watson, Amari Cooper, Brian Robinson, rank in order. That's a tough one. Okay, so under the assumption, let's say, for example, let's say Christian Watson is healthy, okay? Theoretically. In a full PPR scoring format, I would rank him above the rest. Okay, so he would be number 1. Number 2 would probably be full PPR. It'd probably be Brian Robinson 2, Amari Cooper 3, and Ramondre 4. That's kind of the order that I'm thinking of at this moment. Flex, Chark, Pittman, Foreman, or Zay Jones. I'm probably going... I'm probably going to play Chark there over Pittman. I'm opening myself up to it more and more as the week progresses. So I would probably play Chark number 1, Pittman 2, and then most likely Zay Jones 3, Foreman 4 in a full PPR format like that. Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore, or Tyler Algier in a half PPR, pick 2. If I'm picking 2.5 PPR, it's DJ Moore and Tyler Algier. Thank you. Hey, Andrew, hope you're well. I'm doing well. Thank you, Jonathan. Hope you're doing well as well. Would you go with Algier or Garrett Wilson? Ooh. Garrett Wilson has more upside. Let's just put it that way. I think Algier is really solid points. Like, Algier could very confidently get us like 12, 13 to 15 points easily in his sleep, right? Especially, I'm assuming he's a half PPR considering you didn't mention anything on top of it. But Garrett Wilson is, I mean, the explosive nature of the wide receiver position and the ability to make given receptions turn into boatload of yards. I mean, Garrett Wilson is really good. And I think if it's any sort of full PPR, I'd probably play Garrett Wilson there. It would be hard not to. I think if it's a half standard, maybe Algier, but it'd be tough not to play Garrett Wilson. I don't know, man. Garrett Wilson's in a really strong position, but I don't love the matchup. So I probably half PPR standard go Algier. Josh Gonzalez says full PPR, pick 2, Dotson, Foreman, Moss. Okay, so between these three, I'd rather play Dotson and Foreman. As for your kicker, Badgley or Pinheiro, I have Pinheiro ranked higher. Quite frankly, I don't mind playing Badgley, though, because it's an indoor stadium. You don't have to worry about any sort of weather effects. In the Pinheiro versus Tampa Bay game, in Tampa Bay, there's a little bit of concern of a little bit of light rain there. So we'll probably just, if you're just trying to avoid all disasters, it's Badgley. But I mean, Pinheiro's consistency is kind of led me onto his trail. That's why I have him ranked higher. Man, you remember, have you guys had it where your ear just gets like, I don't know what it is, man. I have to like pop my ear. Like I'm trying to unlock it with my jaw. It just does not work. Okay. Anyway, Sid Jacobs, that's kind of where I'm leaning the direction of, Jesse. Yes. I do not trust Jacobs with a backup quarterback and going up against the 49ers. So you'll see where he's ranked. He's not like out of the top 36. Don't get me wrong. He's not at that position. He's just below a lot of other options in the given week. Okay, a couple more questions, then I got to get out of here because I got to go edit that video, get it uploaded, everything for tomorrow, and then I'll be back tomorrow afternoon from 1 to 3 p.m. Again, thank you guys. I was here early. I know you got a ton of questions. Yeah, Jersey, you've been here almost every stream, so listen here, my man. Let's see what you got. Purdy or Herbert? Oh, goodness gracious. You have to do this question, huh? You got to do this question of all the questions in the world, huh? Purdy is 2 touchdowns, 15 points. If you can take that and live, you're fine. If you want the volatility of 10 to 20, it's Herbert. I know that doesn't answer your question. I have Purdy ranked higher than Herbert, though. I'll put it that way. I'd rather take consistency of play rather than instability, unless you're in a position where like, hey, I'm already down a boatload of points because of, I don't know, Dalton Schultz, and I'm going to need upside. Then you play Herbert there, right? Also, Swift, Chark, Hodgins, I'm assuming that's Isaiah Hodgins, Olave, Bam, Knight, pick 2, full PPR. Chark is 1, and Olave would be 2 if Olave plays. If he doesn't, I'm probably playing Hodgins as the other option there in a full PPR. Thank you. All right. Start Montgomery, AJ Dillon, or McKinnon in a full PPR? That's a great question, Jeff. I'm not playing Montgomery. It's between McKinnon and AJ Dillon in a full PPR, in which I'm probably leaning towards playing AJ Dillon there. Thank you. Dotson or Olave in a full PPR? Dotson. Yeah. Bench Jacobs for Jeff Wilson. Look, that's at that point, I would say no. At that position, I would not play him. I would not sit him for Jeff Wilson Jr. As much as I like Jeff Wilson, I don't trust that offense. Anvesh says you skipped my question multiple times. Listen, Anvesh, you should have added it to your thing. Your dono, man. I completely forgot, my man. Anvesh says, missed my 3rd championship. Okay, let's go to the question. Where's the question? Okay, I guess this is your question. Missed my 3rd championship in a row by 2 points last week due to Herbert. Yeah, Herbert 5.5 points is brutal. Anyways, 3rd place game. Which defense do you prefer between Chargers, Bills, and Falcons? Between those threes, I prefer the Chargers. I'll take the Chargers against the Rams this week. And which 2, Algier, Dillon, or Swift? I'll take Algier and Dillon. Thank you, Anvesh. Have a good one, my man. What the heck is that question? A couple more super chats sent in. We had one from Richie Boy, says flex 3, Garrett Wilson, Mike Evans, Kenneth Walker, Jerry Jeudy, Miles Sanders. Of the potential options that you have, Richie, I would play Garrett Wilson, Kenneth Walker, and Jerry Jeudy. As for the follow-up question from Enrique Duran, thank you very much, says, full PPR, pick 2, Andrew. For the flex, we have Swift, we have Cooper, we have Watson, we have Marquise Brown, we have Algier, we have Foreman. Okay, so I would like to play, personally, if in fact Christian Watson's healthy, I'd like to play him alongside Amari Cooper. But unfortunately, considering we don't know if he's going to be healthy, you probably are in a better position of just playing Cooper and Algier. Thank you. You know, I'm beginning to feel, and tell me if you guys feel this as well. For those of you who are Christian Watson managers and or Ramondre Stevenson managers, are you guys feeling the sense that just like I think it was, what was it, week 15? Remember when all of us were scared out of our minds to play Ramondre Stevenson because he did not practice the entire week, and the assumption was that he could potentially miss playing in the afternoon because of the high ankle sprain. Then he plays against the Raiders and goes for 28 fantasy points or whatever the heck it was, career high numbers. I'm beginning to think that Christian Watson could do that to us this week, where if we don't play him because we're trying to play safe, he plays it in the afternoon, he goes to 30 fantasy points, and he sits on our bench and we lose. I'm legitimately getting those vibes from him. Now, maybe it's just me being a complete psychopath, and I've been, listening and consuming too much fantasy data and information over the course of the last, I would say, 5-6 months now, but I'm beginning to feel those vibes, and it's starting to hurt my brain. Yeah, George, I did that earlier. Thank you. I appreciate it, my man. Atlas says, I appreciate you. No problem. I'm glad I could help. Joseph Na says, love the content, Andrew. I need 2 for the championship game. Half PPR, 1 wide receiver, 1 flex spot. Sutton, Brandon Cooks, Dobbs, Richie James, Zach Moss, or J.K. Dobbins. Okay, so of the available options, Brandon Cooks did not practice all week. That is worrisome for me. So in a half PPR scoring format, if I'm playing 1 wide receiver here, it's probably Richie James. And then your flex option is most likely leaning in the direction of playing J.K. Dobbins there. Thank you. Dotson or Evans? I have Dotson ahead of Evans, Aaron. It may be crazy to do that, but I'm kind of leaning in that direction. Okay, guys. Would you start the Patriots defense, Jags, or Giants, or Chargers? I have the Jags ahead of them all. I have it Jags, Giants, Patriots, Chargers in that order, Jeff. Who would you start out of these 4? RB2 spot in a flex. We have Kenneth Walker, Cam Akers, Aaron Jones, or A.J. Dillon. So Kenneth Walker would be number 1. I probably say Aaron Jones is 2. So it's just Aaron Jones, Kenneth Walker. I feel the same. I picked up Dobbs as the backup for a reason. Yeah, that's a smart idea, Michael. Algier or Devonta Smith in the flex? Devonta Smith. Who do we start from the... Okay, yeah, we already took care of that. It's no time to play conservative. All or nothing, people. Play your studs. Hey, the whole thing is... We're only playing conservative because maybe he doesn't play. That's the issue, right, Mario? What if he just doesn't show up and you don't have the ability to pivot to a Romeo Dobbs or an Allen Lazard? Then where it's just disaster. We just lose outright, AJ Dillon or DeAndre Swift? I'm assuming that's Swift, Cody. I'd play AJ Dillon this week. Thank you. Pick 2, Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, Connor. I'll play Barkley and Christian McCaffrey this week. Thank you. That's my number 1 and 2 running back of the week, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Pacheco over Jacobs. Yes, Pacheco over Jacobs. Chiefs or Pats defense? I'll take the Pats this. I know. Actually, I have the Chiefs ahead of them. Let's ride Russell Wilson. It's gonna be let's cook absolute burnt toast. So it's gonna be interesting there. Zach Moss or Richie James? Richie James. D-Hop if he plays, or Pickens. If he plays, I'll play D-Hop over Pickens. Benny, you're always somehow one of the first comments on every video. I don't know how you're so fast, Benny. It is unbelievable. Like, I'm almost convinced that some of you guys have scripts that insta-comment on videos. I don't even understand it. Let's see here. Full PPR, pick 1. Goff, Cousins. Okay, if it's between these 2, I have Goff. Okay, Andre, I don't know if you were here earlier. I was mentioning some stats in regards to Jared Goff. Hear me out. You ready for it? Jared Goff, home and away splits this season. He's played 8 games at home and 7 away. At home this season, 24 passing touchdowns to 4 interceptions. Away, only 6 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. He is a significantly better player at home. And guess what? He plays at home against Chicago. Chicago is missing 3 of their starting DBs. It is going to be a glorious week for one Jared Goff, coming off of a 5 consecutive game streak of 240 plus passing yards, 11 plus touchdowns in those 5 consecutive games. I think we're in a spot here where Jared Goff is the play. It's hard not to play him, even with guys like Kirk Cousins, who always play it close and are great. It's just crazy. Let's see here. We took care of that. Okay. Hopkins, Dotson, Hodgins. Again, this is going to be a to be determined, right? If Hopkins doesn't play, right, then you probably pivot here. I don't know what I'm going to do with him. I got to figure that out over the course of the next, I'd say 24 hours, and then I'll for sure know by Sunday morning. How did I get skipped twice? How unlucky? Smokey, what's up? Half PPR. Need 2 tight ends. I need 2 and a tight end. Okay, cool. So London, Juju, Foreman, Marquise Brown, Dotson. Of those players, I'll take London number 1. And I'll probably, if it's between Jotson, yeah, I guess it's Jotson, right? Jahan Dotson. Juju or Dotson, I'm probably playing Dotson there. So I'll go London and Dotson. And then for tight end, I'll play Komet there against Detroit earlier this season against Detroit. 4 catches, 74, and 2 touchdowns. So pretty good spot there. I'm playing my stack team. Yeah, listen, Mario, there are a lot of teams, and I'm hoping majority of you guys are in these scenarios where your team is so damn good that no one could stop you this season and you got to the finals, right? And you play your studs because that's what got you there. For some of us who barely snuck into the finals and we're scrambling, it's a little bit different, right? Pick 2, Algier, Etienne, Robinson. This is going to probably be Etienne and Robinson here. Aaron, Etienne and Robinson, my man. Thank you. George says, okay, we took care of that one. We'll figure that out, I guess, again. Brian Robinson, Akers, Najee, Algier, D-Hop, full PPR. Brian Robinson's number 1. I would probably venture to say that I'll probably just play Algier 2 or Akers. Yeah, I'll probably just play Algier 2 with Brian Robinson. I'm worried about the D-Hop this weekend. Jackson said, I'm in the championship thanks to you. So thank you very much. No problem. Glad I can help in any sort of way. Start 2 flex and a full PPR. Jacoby Myers, Richie James, Chris Olave, Isaiah Hodgins. Thanks. I don't want to stack too many players on that. Okay, so this is my suggestion. In a full PPR, I'm playing Jacoby Myers and I'm playing Richie James. He's questionable. I already don't like the matchup. If Olave played exclusively in the slot position, going up against the Eagles would be easy because there's no Avonte Maddox. There's also no CJ Gardner-Johnson, right? So there's a lot of secondary members missing there. It would be easier for him. I don't want to see Olave going up against Darius Slay. I'm not interested there. Isaiah Hodgins is the one that I could consider playing over Myers, but Myers has been okay as of late. Has a pretty good matchup. I could be convinced otherwise. Right now, I'm leaning towards these two. If I get to Sunday and I feel like double Giants is the play, you'll see it in the rankings, Jackson. Okay, guys, I've said for the last 30 minutes I got to go, and 30 minutes passed. So it's 10:40. I've been here for how many minutes here? What is the official time of the stream? Hour and 26. Okay, thank you guys for coming out, supporting the channel. We did see a super chat sent in just a moment ago from Dorsey. We're going to address that really quickly. Dorsey 5001 says full PPR. Algier or Travis Etienne. I'll take Travis Etienne there against Houston. They're starting all their studs. We're good to go there. Deshaun Watson or Carson Wentz as your follow-up. I will play Deshaun Watson. I am dealing with that exact issue in a super flex league of my own. So at this moment, I'm playing Deshaun Watson there over Carson Wentz. I think there's a lot more volatility with the Wentz upside intact, but also his disastrous nature of making mistakes and throwing picks. It could exist and it could ruin my week. So I'm leaning towards Watson and his rushing upside along with whatever he does through the air. So again, thank you. Appreciate it, guys. Tomorrow, I'll be posting a video. Not only will I be posting a video at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'll be back for 2 hours answering questions. Then on Sunday morning, I'll be back for an additional 2 hours in the new year answering more questions with updated rankings on screen. That's the whole point. That's the entire kind of reason why I do Sunday morning rankings. So that if in fact you need to pop in, and get a question answered, it's literally there on screen. Before we close out today's video, I want to remind you guys, if you haven't checked out PrizePicks, another way to support the channel is by going over there and checking it out. If it's something that interests you, by all means, go ahead and use promo code Andrew today, because that first time deposit that you make when using promo code Andrew is immediately doubled up to $100. Again, we've put together a couple entries. I'll go ahead and most likely talk more about some entries because I got some research to do in regards to this upcoming weekend on tomorrow's live stream. But again, if that's something that's interesting you, in regards to the remainder of the fantasy season, daily fantasy, and or going into the NFL playoffs, if that's something that interests you, go ahead and check that out. Again, there's a link in the description. Be sure to use promo code Andrew. Thank you very much. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and cue the music. I'm going to go back to editing my video that I recorded just an hour ago. I'll see y'all tomorrow or potentially Saturday morning in the new year.